Hey, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to Life Mastery Decoded, where I help you decode the struggles in your life in the areas of health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality with mind mastery, emotional management, and meditation. Welcome to today's podcast. Hey, ladies, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to today's episode where I hope I'm finding you living a full life. If you are not living a full life, then it is my intention that in today's episode, the last one of the year, the last one of 2021, that I give you one nugget of inspiration towards your transformation to kick off 2022. So we're going to talk about New Year's, but I'm going to wrap it up into a tightly knit package, specifically talking about life and death and everything in between. Nobody wants to talk about life and death. They don't hardly even want to talk about their goals. They don't want to talk about their emotions. And I am the one to bring that to you. I have never shied away from talking about these things. I ask those tough questions. I ask those hard questions. Not only do I ask them of myself and in my connection with my own source energy, but I also ask them of other people. As Amy says, people are compelled to tell you, Jen, to tell you things. And it is so true. And it is not strangers on an airplane. It is everyday people. I will spend time with people and I ask those hard questions. Someone comes up to me and says, I have this really crappy relationship. I then don't respond with, let me tell you about my crappy relationships. I respond with, tell me about your crappy relationship. What makes it crappy, right? So I think by providing that safe space for people to talk, I am able to go deeper quicker. And in my podcast, especially as we're going forward, starting season 4 in 2022, I'm going to be talking about those tough topics and encourage you to join me in this building of a new culture, a new age, a new sisterhood going forward where it's okay to talk about those things, to talk about those topics that we sweep under the carpet because nobody understands them, nobody wants to talk about them, or it's too deep or too dark or too morbid or too something. We like to talk about surface things and memes that we see on Facebook. We like to talk about the news, if it's big news, dumb news, bold news, anything. And it's just entertainment. Everything that we talk about is entertainment. I remember when personal development used to be this taboo, I almost want to say, that, you're doing something in the self-help, like you're going to the self-help section of the bookstore. You must be crazy. You must have a disease. You must be sick in the mind. You must be schizophrenic. You must be something, right? Some big, huge mental thing. You must not know how to be in the world. And people would shy away from people who talked about self-development or personal development or self-help. And it's like, I was the person who not only would go in the self-help section, but I would not hide what I bought there. Because what I was trying to do was help myself. So let's first talk about death. And let's talk about death in this way. And I don't understand everything about it. I don't want you to think that I'm an expert on death or life after death or what happens before. There's some things that I've heard that I feel like I believe. But of course, we never ever know for 1,000% sure. We just create beliefs that make us feel good. We just create beliefs that we can believe because we need to have this understanding while we're here on this planet. So when we talk about death, it is not in, I don't want to talk about it in this way that creates this sadness or this darkness that looms over you that I'm going to die one day and I'm going to leave my kids behind or my dogs behind or what's going to happen with my house and my belongings and my stuff. That's for a different, that topic creates a lot of sadness. I want to create momentum and motivation as we talk about death. I have a quote. We do not fear death. We fear not living a full life before we die. I'll repeat that. We do not fear death. We fear not living a full life before we die. Now, I just came up with that quote today. I was doing dishes and thinking, okay, so it's this day of the month is the 29th or whatever day it is. And it's almost New Year's. And so I have kind of New Year's on the brain for myself, my personal life, and my professional life. And I always like to talk about New Year's. So when I was a personal trainer and I ran a boot camp, as we came around through December, my mind was always going to January, and all of my clients were like, okay, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, before, in the new year, and I'm going to do this and this and this, and I'm going to push and force, and I'm going to basically kink the hose and choke the chicken. and I would somehow want to get on board in supporting their goals and their determination and their steps and their action. But at the same time, there was something that was not in alignment with what I was doing to help them. Like, I wanted to support the client who said, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in the new year, and I'm going to diet and exercise, and I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to go to the boot camp, and I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to journal, and I'm going to do all this stuff, and I'm going to create all these things, and I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this. And they create this big giant list, and they're all completely motivated and excited and determined and committed. And I'm like excited about their determination and their commitment. But then I think the way they were going about it intuitively, I'm like, that's not right. Like, don't do that. But I didn't know what else to tell them. So I'm like, yeah, I'll be here if you need me. I'll have a boot camp 4 days a week, and I'll help you with a dieting. When I say dieting, I mean basically your nutritional needs for your body. I don't mean go on a 12-week diet, lose a bunch of weight, get off the diet, gain all the weight back. I don't mean that kind of a fad diet. Anyway, so I would support them, but it was something I wanted to support them, but I wanted to know that what they were going to do was going to be successful. And I had a 100% result. And the 100% was that they didn't get the result they wanted. Ever. Never. Not once. Not one time. Not one client came back to me and said, oh my God, Jen, I did it. 3 months later, 6 months later, I lost 20 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever. Oh my God, look I did it. My New Year's resolution came true. Not once. 100% of my clients did not achieve their goal. And it would really piss me off. And I would you stood there and you had this commitment and this excitement and this dedication and this plan. Why in the world did the universe not grant you your results that you were looking for? Why did you not get what you were looking for? It was so infuriating to me. I'm standing here as this mentor and this teacher and this trainer, and I'm like, man, I want to help these women. I want to stand here 6 months from now and look at these women and look at their befores and afters, and they went down 8 pant sizes, and they lost 24 inches, and they lost 50, 60, 80 pounds. I'm so excited for them. I'm so happy for them. I'm so elated to be a part of their journey. But I freaking stood there every single time. And I'm like, why are they not getting results? Why are they not? Well, they're getting results. Why are they not getting the results they are determined to get? And there's one word. And if you've been listening to my podcast, you probably already know what the word is. But that word is alignment. That word is alignment. As they're standing in front of me, they are determined and committed. They have a goal, they have a plan, but they're not in alignment with it. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't want it. That could be part of it. I remember talking about boot camp in an earlier podcast and saying I had a lady in my boot camp, and she wanted to lose weight, and I asked her about losing weight, and she just would kind of go through the motions, but she just didn't have that energy about her in class. So I remember asking her one time after class, I pulled her aside and I said, Angela, do you really want to lose weight? And she goes, well, of course I do. I wouldn't be in this class if I didn't. And I said, no, listen, I said, between you and I, dig deep right now. Do you want to lose the weight this extra weight that's on your body. And she looked right at me and she said, no, not really. And I said, then let's talk about that. So she was not in alignment. So you're not going to get your goal, right? It's like the job or the career. You go to college and your whole entire family's doctors. And so they say, you're going to go be a doctor too. And then you're like, I don't really want to be a doctor, but my mom and my dad and my brother are all doctors. And so I guess I'll go do it. And I went to college and I took all these classes to become a doctor, but I failed out of college because I'm not in alignment with becoming a doctor. So that's part of it. That is probably part one. And in that part one, you are not in alignment. That just means that you don't really want the goal. But what it really means is you want the goal, you just don't want to do that work to get the goal. Or you don't want the goal. All right, you follow me so far? That creates a misalignment in your energy. So that is, if you've listened to a couple of my podcasts, you've heard the metaphor that I use where the water spigot is over there and the hose is over there pointing towards your garden, and you turn the water on and that flows. If the hose is clear, it flows very nice, clean, clear water towards your garden, grows your garden. If you have crap in your garden, you have crap in the hose, you turn the water on, either nothing comes out or crappy water comes out, which doesn't really water your garden to the same beautiful level that it would if the water was clean and clear. I use that metaphor when I'm talking about life force energy moving through your body and creating the life that you want. If you have stuck energy in your body, you turn the life force energy flow on, which is either coming up from Mother Earth or coming down from source energy through the chakras. And if it's gunked up where you don't have this alignment and it's gunked up somewhere, I don't really want the goal, or I don't really want to do the work, but I want to pretend I want the goal. You can't pretend. You turn the hose on, you turn life force on, the energy moves through and nothing manifests at the other end because you have this stuck energy. So when we talk about that, that is what's happening with this woman, that she just has, the hose is kinked, I don't want the goal, or I don't want to do the work to get the goal. It's called a misalignment in your energy. It happens all the time. There's lots of reasons why you might have this misalignment, but let's get back to the goal at hand. Let's get back to talking about our goal. We get excited, we get wound up, we get committed, we get determined. We look at our goal and we go, yes, I want that. I want to lose weight, or I want to be a better parent, or I want to make more money, or I want more clients, or whatever your goal is. And you get excited, and then what you do is right there, instead of working on the alignment to find any hidden, stuck energy, you work at the physical level, which is already manifest, and push it around, which is, you're like working backwards, because everything starts as energy, an idea, a thought. Then that energy, then that thought gets fed emotion. And in that emotion, which is energy in motion, in that emotion, it gets pushed and fed, and it grows and grows and creates speed and momentum until it becomes physical form. But we work backwards. We push around the physical form without creating the energy first. We have the thought, we skip the emotion and go right to pushing physical around, which is what all my ladies were doing. The thought, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to lose 80 pounds in the new year. This is what I'm going to do. And then they create their physical pushing plan. I'm going to push this. I'm going to force myself to go to the gym 7 days a week. I'm going to go to your boot camp. I'm going to stop eating sugar and stop drinking alcohol. And I'm going to stop eating McDonald's. And I'm going to push, force. Misalignment. And then at the end of their 3, 6, 9 months, they still don't have the result they want. And then they can't figure out why. So we're talking about living a full life. We're talking about death, but fear of living, fear of missing the chance, because we let day in and day out go by, one day after another, 1 year after another. You're now 35, you're now 49, you're now 52, you're now 69, you're now 78, and you still don't have your freaking goal. So let's talk about how do we work at this alignment level. The first thing is the desire. Knowing what you want and getting on board with that desire. Digging at it, looking at it, changing directions, talking about it, feeling into it, and going, do I want this desire? Do I really want this desire? Why do I want it? Okay, so first, the thought, the idea, the desire. The next is the emotional support for the desire. Why do I want it? Why do I want this desire? What do I feel like it's going to, or what do I think it's going to give me emotionally? The reason we want the new car is because it's going to give us a sense of security because it's new. It's not going to break down like my old car, or it's going to give me a sense of power or freedom or fun or happiness. What's at the emotional level? Because this is where the work is. So you need to uncover what that is. Here's the desire. Here's the emotional state that I believe it's going to give me. Now, I'm now going to use other faculties, it could be even physical plans to create that emotion. Interesting, isn't it? Okay, but wait, Jen. I have to go to the gym. Yes, we'll get there. You'll get to the gym. Yes, I have to stop eating sugar. Yeah, we'll get there. You'll stop eating sugar. I have to stop drinking Diet Coke every day. Yep, that's fine. Yeah, you'll get there. But that's not the first part. You went from step 1 to step 4. You skipped step 2 and step 3. So now we're talking about step 2 and step 3 that are hidden in the layers of creation. They're hidden because we live in the physical world. We experience the physical world every day, and we want to push the physical world around. If I go to the gym and I do this many reps and I'm there for 2 hours and I do these exercises, I'm going to have this body. Yes, that is true if you are in alignment with it. Because I'm telling you, I had people in my boot camp that did the same amount of work. They came to class 4 days a week, completely dedicated, completely on board, completely physically moving their bodies. One person lost 80 pounds in 6 months. And the other person, maybe 10. And why is that? Because one was in alignment and the other one wasn't. It's simple as that. Okay. Isn't this getting fun? Isn't this a really good way to turn the tide of 2021 and turn the corner to 2022 armed and dangerous with some really, really powerful information? So let's keep going. So now you have a desire, and it doesn't matter what your desire is. You could write it down. If you want to work along with me, you can write it down on a piece of paper. I desire to blank. My desire is blank. I want to make $100,000 this year. I want a new car. I want a new house, whatever the physical thing is, whatever the anything is. Then after that, then I want you to write the emotions that I will have or that I'm looking to get. There are people who go out and buy a new car, and I immediately think because it's freedom. The sense of power and luxury and freedom. And someone else is going, no, I'm buying a new car because I want my kids to be safe. I don't want to get stranded on the side of the road. I'm buying it for security and safety. Oh, I wouldn't even think of that. Anyway, so as you think of your desire, think of the emotional support that supports that desire. What emotions am I going to feel if I have it? If I waved my magic wand and I got the thing right now, what would I have? What emotions would I feel? And aside from like excitement and elation and stuff like that, but just pretend now I have the new car. I'm sitting in the new car. What am I feeling? Why did I want the new car? And I want you to write those emotional words down. I want you to write those emotional words down so you know where you're going to be actually focusing your attention. Because it's on the end goal, but it's about conjuring up those emotions. The next step is to list things that support, that create, that elicit those emotions. So if it's power and freedom for getting the new car, those are my 2 big words. Those words excite me. Like there's a whole bunch. There's confidence, there's sexiness, there's power, freedom, security because it's a new car, there's whatever. Okay. But the words that really jump off the page for me, let's say, are power and freedom. Okay. And now I'm going to write a list of things that bring out that feeling, that give me the feeling of freedom right now in my life, that give me the feeling of freedom. So what can I do? Immediately, what I just did when I said that, when I said freedom, of this feeling of freedom, that I close my eyes immediately because my body's getting ready to do it. Intuitively, my body knows what to do. I just interrupt it with my stupid mind who gets interfered that says, you're not going to do this and whatever. So intuitively, my mind, my body immediately closed my eyes. Now my body did that. I didn't do that on purpose. So intuitively, my body goes, okay, let's imagine. So when I ask that question out loud, okay, how do I elicit the feeling of freedom? My body closed its eyes, which means it tells me, ooh, I could use my imagination. I can close my eyes and I can get in the car. I can smell the new car smell. I can feel the leather seats. I can feel the gear shifter in my hand and the steering wheel in my hand. I can look at my eyes in the rear view mirror. I could roll the windows down or open the sunroof. I can feel my body sitting in the seats as it cradles my body in this beautiful black leather, and I just can see out the windshield, and it's this beautiful stretch of road, and right? I could do all of that, and it creates the feeling of freedom, or power, or confidence, or security, or safety, or whatever the emotion is. But I'm conjuring up the emotion. That is equal to going over to the spigot and turning the water on, and then walking inside and letting the water your garden, to then 6 weeks later, you look out there and you have these little sprouts, to then 17 weeks later, you look out there and you have fruit or you have beautiful flowers. But I didn't do anything. Yes, you did. You got into alignment. You pointed the hose at the garden. You turned the water on and the hose was clear. 17 weeks later, you have this beautiful, magnificent garden, which was your desire. So now you're going, okay, wait, Jen, wait a second. Stop. Are you telling me that I just have to pick my desire, pick my emotions, imagine in any way, visualize in some way, use my imagination that elicits that emotion that will feed my desire, and 17 weeks from now, I'll have my desire? And the answer is yes and no, because now step three is the action. Because the desire is for me to have this big, beautiful garden. The intention is, and the alignment is that I'm going to go out there. The hose is clean and clear. There's not a bunch of gunk. I'm taking care of the hose. I'm stretching the hose. I'm pointing it out. Now try to go parallel to my metaphor, because now in my metaphor, I'm talking about physically going out there and, stretching the hose. And now I'm telling you, don't do that in the real world. Don't go out there and physically manipulate the world. But with my metaphor, it's about alignment. It's about that my energy is clear. It can run through this hose unobstructed of any energy residue. Because if I don't believe in my desire, I'm not going to get my garden. If the hose is kinked, if my energy is kinked somehow, and that's what we're going to talk about next. And actually, I'm going to talk about that in the next episode. I'm going to cut these two in half. So, but that's the work, okay? Then I go out. All I do now is the hose is set up. Okay, well, look at it this way. The metaphor is hooking up the hose, planting the garden, now taking the hose, hooking it to the spigot, stretching the hose out, making sure there's nothing kinked in there from, when it was in storage, hooking the sprinkler at the other end. All of that work, even though in my metaphor it's physical work, it equates to, in the world, what I'm telling you is that's the emotional work. That is getting ready. That is preparing my energy body for my desire. That's that work. But in my metaphor, it looks like it's this physical work, but I'm hooking this up and I'm stretching the hose out and I'm pointing it at my garden. I'm pointing my attention at my garden and I'm looking at my garden, which is my intention and my desire. I'm like, and I'm visualizing these beautiful flowers or these vegetables growing in my garden, and I'm making sure the hose is unobstructed of any crap inside the hose, and I turn the water on, I clean it, and I move it and shake it, and I make sure that the water is going to flow cleanly through the hose. Okay, you with me with that? All right, just wanted to clarify. And then my action is now motivated and in alignment. Meaning, I'm excited because of this desire that I have, which creates this excitement, which then moves my body now in the physical world to go turn the hose on every single morning at 6 a.m. Get my butt out of bed somewhere at 5:58. I'm like, ooh, I got to go water my garden, because at the end, I'm going to have this emotional response. I'm going to look at my garden and be like, oh, the wonders of nature. It's so big and beautiful, or I've got fruits and vegetables, or I've got something, whatever the garden is, that elicits this emotional response, and I'm looking forward to it. So I visualize it. I get that emotion. Now it's energy in motion. My body immediately gets up at 6 a.m., walks outside through the wet grass, turns the spigot on, looks at the garden to get that last little boost of energy, like, oh, it's and the sprinkler starts going and it starts, you're shooting water through, and it's really exciting. And I love that sound. And then I just let the water do the work. That's step 4. I look at the garden, I look at the sprinkler, I take in the cool breath of fresh air, I think about my garden, I visualize, and maybe I even walk over there and see if there's any sprouts, and there's nothing yet, but I know that it's going to happen. I'm confident. I have faith. I trust the universe is going to bring me my result. And I just take it all in for a second, and I just sit and I relish in this new emotion and this new confidence, and I watch the sprinkler. I breathe one more breath of fresh air, and I go back inside. And I leave the sprinkler on to do the work. I don't go out there and make little holes for the water droplets to go in. I don't go out there and yell at the water to do what it's supposed to do. I don't have to do anything. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do. I turn the water on and I walk away. Do you see the magic in this creation? That metaphor couldn't be more perfect, because it really depicts all of the steps so beautifully. It just lays it out in such a way that you can completely visualize. So now take your goal, take your desire, put it in the garden, and then think of the steps that you have to do to get it to where I can get up without any problems and zero resistance. And I get up out of bed at 6 a.m. and I walk over there and I turn the water on, and I breathe the fresh air, and I look at the garden and I look at the sprinkler, and everything's watering how it's supposed to, and I just have faith. And I walk inside. That's the same as, here's this goal. I'm thinking about my desire. I'm thinking about my body. I'm thinking about how I want to lose this weight, what it's going to feel like, what it's going to look like, the emotional response, which is all the emotional work of getting the hose out and hooking it up and straightening it out and making sure there's no crap inside the hose that's going to prevent life force energy from doing its work. Because life force energy is the water that is moving through the hose. And if I as the gardener, haven't done the work to clean out the hose, I'm going to turn the water on at 6 a.m. and nothing's going to happen. And I'm going to come back 6 months from now and go, what the heck? Why is my garden still not growing? Matter of fact, it's worse. It's dusty, it's dirty, it's dry and brittle. It looks terrible. Well, this doesn't work. Watering a garden, they say, that doesn't work. The sun does its job. What happened? What didn't I do? You didn't do the emotional work, which was cleaning and clearing the hose. Clean and clear the hose so there's no energy residue, there's no stuck spots. And now the energy can flow. The water can flow freely. You turn it on, 6 o'clock in the morning, and you walk away. That is the same. Now I have this goal. Let's say it's planted in my garden. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Okay, it's in my garden. I'm excited about it. And the emotional, that's going to be the hose, that any of the, the hose, any of the stuck energy in the hose, but the emotion is going to be confidence, sexy, and just overall feel good. Feel good when I look in the mirror. Just this overall general health feeling, but it's like sexy, feel good, strong, powerful. Okay. That's the work. And then I have to use my imagination, which now is hooking the hose up, straightening it out, looking at any of the hose to make sure that life force energy, the universe, God, source, can get me my results. So I have to look in there and say, do I have any stuck energy about it? Do I want this goal? Am I excited about this goal? That's the work. That is unkinking the hose. Unrolling it, unkinking it. When it gets all folded, then it folds on itself and the weight of it and it kinks it. You turn the water on, nothing's going to happen. Water's not going to come out at the other end. So if I have this desire and I don't really want the desire, and I turn life force energy on, which is now going to the gym or stopping eating sugar or not eating at McDonald's, nothing is going to happen. Do you understand that? You're not going to get the results because there's a kink somewhere in the hose. But if there is no kink in the hose at 5:59, before my alarm goes off at 6 a.m., I'm already out of bed, putting on my workout clothes and heading to the gym. If there is a kink in the hose, how do you know? Well, 2 ways. 1, you're getting no results. Or 2, you have a lot of mental resistance. You have a lot of mental resistance, meaning not only does the alarm go off at 6 o'clock, but it goes off at 6:08, 6:16, 6:24, and you're still not getting out of bed. You just continue to hit the snooze. And you're grumbling, and you're not excited. And the emotion of having your thing is like, do I really want that? Do I really want to lose 20 pounds? Do I really want to go brush the snow off my car and go to the gym? I think I'll just roll over. And then you turn the alarm off. And then years go by, are added to your life. Your health declines. Your doctor says you have high cholesterol or high blood pressure, or you're at risk for diabetes or heart disease. You're now 67 years old. And you look back and you go, what the frack? Why didn't I get out of bed on those days and go to the gym? If you liked this episode and look forward to future episodes, please consider making a small monthly donation to help support this podcast. If you are looking for a community to join and have more access to me, then consider one of the following platforms. Chakras for Beginners is an energy-based community that is highly active and growing every day. Lady Rising is a sistership community where the focus is on spiritual support and connection. We hold monthly calls and talk about topics such as today's episode. We also have an online store where you can meet your meditation and chakra needs with products for your journey. You can visit us at www.themeditationroomtc.com. Thank you for joining me and being a valued listener.